I'm back with my next video, and today we are going to do class 11th chapter, that is The Summer of the Beautiful White Horse, and this is by William Saroyan. This is the first chapter of the book Snapshots for class 11. Very interesting chapter where we come to know about two Armenian boys. Alright, there is a tribe we will just read about, and this tribe is known for its trust and honesty. So anyone belonging to this tribe can be, categorized into honest people, trustworthy people. And we have an interesting account of these two boys who belong to this same tribe. Let us see what all they do and how they make this interesting chapter very, very amusing and entertaining for the readers. Let us start. This is a long chapter. We'll go very quickly. One day, back there in the good old days when I was 9 and the world was full of every imaginable kind of magnificence, and life was still a delightful and mysterious dream, my cousin Murad, who was considered crazy by everybody who knew him except me, came to my house at 4 in the morning and woke me up, tapping on the window of my room. So this story is being narrated by one of the Armenian boys. We'll get his name in the next line. I'll tell you, his name is Aram. Alright, and he is talking here about his cousin Murad. So he says that when he was just 9, and good old days, he's talking about the time when he was 9 years old, he imagined the world and life to be very magnificent, fantastic, with all kinds of interesting curiosities involved in it. Life, a mystery, what is there good, Reality we come to know when we grow up, we come to know about the actual reality of life. But for small children, it is a bundle of curiosity. Alright, and same was this for Aram. And then he goes on to say that my cousin Murad was regarded by everyone in the tribe as crazy. People used to feel he had a crazy streak in him. Alright, but Aram found him very good, very close. So this whole chapter is an account about these two children. So what happened was, one day Murad came and Murad tapped at his window, and it was at 4 a.m. So it was still not light, alright, and the sun had not risen. It was just 4, and he tapped at his window. Aram, he said. He called out his name. I jumped out of the bed and looked out of the window. I couldn't believe what I saw. It wasn't morning yet, but it was summer, and with daybreak, not many minutes around the corner of the world, it was light enough for me to see that I wasn't dreaming. My cousin Murad was sitting on a beautiful white horse. So something, amazing that he saw at 4 a.m. His cousin tapped the window, Murad tapped the window, called Aram out, and when Aram came out, he saw that it was still dark, but it was just the sun was just going to rise and everything was just going to lighten up, but it was enough right now for him to see that Murad was sitting on a horse. Horse? A beautiful white horse. My cousin Murad was sitting on a beautiful white horse. I stuck my head out of the window, rubbed my eyes. Yes, he said in Armenian, he said in his own language, it's a horse. You are not dreaming. So this was Murad's dialogue, that what, you are rubbing your eyes and all. It is a horse and I'm sitting on a horse and you are not dreaming. Make it quick if you want to ride. So if you want to have a ride on the horse, quickly come out. I knew my cousin Murad enjoyed being alive more than anybody else who had ever fallen into the world by mistake, but this was more than enough more than even I could believe. So, he knew that his brother, his cousin Murad was a very, very lively, active person. He was always found doing something which the other people were not doing. But today on a horse, this was really, really amazing, shocking for Aram. In the first place, my earliest memories had been memories of horses. And my first longings had been longing to ride. So then Aram goes on to say, see, I am just fond of horses. And in the first place, he always thinks about horses. And secondly was to ride on horses. So he had these desires. Alright, this is Aram's desire. This was the wonderful part. In the second place, we were poor. So he says, firstly, I always, dreamt of horses and longed to ride on a horse. Secondly, we were such poor people, we could not afford a horse. This was the part that wouldn't permit me to believe what I saw. So this was the reason that he couldn't believe that it was a horse on which Murad was sitting. Everybody knew this whole tribe was poverty stricken. They did not have money. Where could they get the horse from? Right? We were poor. We had no money. Our whole tribe was poverty stricken. Every branch of the Garo-Galenian family, so I was talking about this tribe, Garo-Galenian tribe, was living in the most amazing and comical poverty in the world. What is comical poverty? Extreme poverty. Alright, so he said that our whole tribe was poverty stricken. We all were living in such extreme poverty. Nobody could understand wherever we got enough money to keep with food in our bellies. He says we just don't know how we arrange money for food to keep our bellies or the stomachs full. Not even the old men of the family. Most important of all, though we were famous for our honesty, we had been famous for our honesty for something like 11 centuries, even when we had been the wealthiest family in what we like to think was the world. So he says that there was a time when they were known as the wealthiest people, the wealthiest tribe. At that time also they were known for their honesty. Now when they were poverty stricken, they were still a group of honest people, a group on which you could trust on. We were proud first, honest next, and after that we believed in right and wrong. So then he goes on to say, this is all Aram. Aram is the protagonist who's telling us a story. So he says he's a 9-year-old boy and he's telling everything about his family, about his tribe, the tribe of Murad and Aram, both to which they belong to, that is the Garo-Galenian tribe. And he says, see, we were proud people. Self-confidence, self-esteem was there. So they are known as proud. Secondly, we were honest, he says. And thirdly, they were very ethical. Ethical means to believe in what is right and to believe in what is wrong. If it is right, then reward that person. If it is wrong, then punish that person. That is being ethical. None of us would take advantage of anybody in the world. So these people were so trustworthy that you could not even doubt that these people could ever do anything wrong with anybody, let alone steal. So stealing was something very far off thing that could be taught about this tribe. Why did he think about stealing? Because he just didn't know from where Murad had got the horse. So that was a big question mark. So he is giving us the reasons. Consequently, even though I could see the horse so magnificent, even though I could smell it so lovely, even though I could hear it breathing so exciting, I couldn't believe the horse had anything to do with my cousin Murad, or with me, or with anyone belonging to their whole family or their tribe. Murad, or with me, or with any other family member. Because I knew my cousin Murad couldn't have bought the horse, and if he couldn't have bought the horse, he must have stolen it, and I refuse to believe he had stolen it. So Aram is telling us everything, and he says that we belong to the Garo-Galilean family, the tribe which is known for its pride, its honesty, and being ethical. So he says that there was a big question mark in my mind, that if we were known for being honest and trustworthy, then we would never steal. So then how did Murad get this horse on which he's sitting? Obviously Murad can't buy a horse, and secondly, because we belong to the Garo-Galilean family, he would not have stolen it. So he's questioning, reasoning it out. How did he get this horse? No member of Garo-Galilean family could be a thief. He goes on to talk all positive about his tribe. I stared first at my cousin and then at the horse, and he said that when he was just in love with horses. He was very fond of horses. Aram, our protagonist, Murad is sitting on it, but Aram himself is very fond of horses. And then he says that I could see the horse, I could smell its wonderful smell. Just see the words wonderfully he has described. He says, I couldn't believe the horse had anything to do with the cousin. All right, and I just lost that line where it was talking about all the smell. Yeah, he says that the smell was so lovely, even though he said I can hear the breathing sound of the horse. So exciting. I'm getting so excited. I couldn't believe the horse had anything to do with the cousin of his. So he says, I can smell it, I can see it, I can hear it breathing. All my senses are telling that the horse is here, but how could he get the horse? So this is something Aram speaks in a very interesting manner. Murad, I said, where did you steal the horse? Leap out of the window. Murad said, leap out of the window, he said, if you want to ride. It was true then. He had stolen the horse. See, he asked, where did you steal it from? And why didn't he contradict? No, I have not stolen. No, I have not stolen. He did not contradict. So he says, oh God, that means he really has stolen it. There was no question about it. He had come to invite me to ride or not as I chose. So, but right now he understood this is not Murad's horse, and he has definitely stolen it, because he did not contradict when I asked him from where did he steal the horse. And thirdly, he had come to call me, and yes, Aram was very, very fond of horses, and one of his dreams was to ride on a horse. So let us see if he goes out or not. Well, it seemed to me stealing a horse for a ride was not same thing as stealing for something else, such as money. So then, Aram, who has great longing for sitting on the horse and riding, he reasons out. He wants to go and ride. So he reasons, see, stealing and then selling the horse for money is something else. But stealing for only riding is not stealing, right? So he felt it was not stealing. For all I knew, maybe it wasn't stealing at all. If you were crazy about horses the way my cousin Murad and I were, it wasn't stealing. So he goes on to reason himself and says, Murad and myself will never steal, and if we have stolen only for riding, then that doesn't, put into a category of a theft or something that is being stolen. It wouldn't become stealing until we offered to sell the horse, which of course I knew we would never do. So he says, no, if we would have taken somebody's horse and gone and sold it for money, that would have been stealing. And he says, I know, I'm sure, we just want to ride, we will never do this type of activity. Let me put on some clothes, I said. All right, he said, but hurry. I leaped into my clothes. I is Aram. I jumped down to the yard from the window and leaped up onto the horse behind my cousin Murad, and then they rode off. That year, we lived at the edge of the town on the Walnut Avenue. So we need to know all these small things. Behind our house was a country, vineyards, orchards, vineyards where all the grapes and all grow, orchards where all the other fruits grow, irrigation ditches, and country roads. So he said we all had that behind our house. In less than 3 minutes, we were on Oliver Avenue, and then the horse began to trot. What is trot? Alright, going slowly. Running, galloping is a little faster one. Trot is when like that. So now, because then Murad maybe, he had slowed down the horse. The air was new and lovely to breathe. It was early morning, 4 a.m. You go outside your houses also at this time, you will get very a peaceful atmosphere. The fragrance of the flowers will be really soothing. So everything was really lively and new. The feel of the horse running was wonderful, and moreover they both were sitting on the horse, and Aram says, I sitting on the back of the horse and riding, it was just wonderful. My cousin Murad, who was considered one of the craziest members of our family, began to sing. I mean, he began to roar, and now they were out of that area where the houses were. They went into the open, and Murad was so happy. It was so fresh. The atmosphere was so lively, and everything was like a new atmosphere had been born. Murad feeling very confident sitting on the horse, and he started singing with happiness. And in fact, Aram says he was not even singing. Singing is to sing in a melodious sound, but he was almost roaring when he was singing. Every family has a crazy streak in it somewhere, and my cousin Murad was considered as the natural descendant of the crazy streak in our tribe. So, he says, Aram has, analyzed everything very nicely and very well. He has said that in every family, if you have 5, 6 members, 4 members in your family, one of them in your family will have a very active, lively and a crazy streak about him. The behavior will be always, very lively and nice, full of enthusiasm. So he said that in our whole tribe, we had Murad as one who had the crazy streak. Before him was our Uncle Khusraw, and then he goes on to say that Murad is a young boy, but before him came under this category was Uncle Khusraw, an enormous man with powerful head of black hair and the largest moustache in the San Joaquin Valley. A man so furious in temper, so irritable, so impatient that he stopped anyone from talking by roaring. It is no harm. Pay no attention to it. So Uncle Khusraw was known for being irritable, short-tempered, very, furious man. He was a big old... Let us read about Uncle Khusraw. So, how we have come to Uncle Khusraw? Because Murad was known for his crazy streak in his behavior, and everybody felt that before Murad there was Uncle Khusraw, and probably Murad and Uncle Khusraw, although they belonged to different families, but they were almost same. So let us read and see. Uncle Khusraw. He was an enormous man with a powerful head of black hair, large moustache, alright, in the San Joaquin Valley. They used to live there. You need to underline this. He was a man so furious in temper. He was always very irritable. He was always very impatient and kept roaring at people who were talking about their problems, and he would stop them and say, pay no attention. It is no harm. Pay no attention to it. Uncle Khusraw was known for this. That was all. No matter what anybody happened to be talking about. Once it was his own son Arak, A-R-A-K, son of Uncle Khusraw, running 8 blocks to the barber shop. So 8 blocks away was the barber shop from their house, and he quickly ran to cross the 8 shops, and he came to the barber shop where Uncle Khusraw was sitting. Alright, and he said, this man Khusraw sat up in the chair and wrote. So when he came and told, Father, our house is on fire, he got very impatient. Uncle Khusraw was not bothered about his house that had caught fire. He just shouted at him, roared at him, and said, it is no harm, pay no attention to it. The barber who was cutting his hair and all, he was shocked. He said, but the boy says, your house is on fire. So Uncle Khusro roared at him. He became very impatient and angry, and he said, enough. It is no harm, I say. So just don't bother about it. Let it be. My cousin Murad was considered a natural descendant of this man. So everybody said, as they are both similar, Murad has got a crazy streak in him that is similar to what Uncle Khusro has got. That's how it was in our tribe. My cousin Murad was considered the natural descendant of this man. Although Murad's father, Zorab, who was practical and nothing else. Now they belonged to totally different families. Murad was the son of Zorab, and he was totally different from Uncle Khusro. That's how it was in our tribe. A man could be the father of his son's flesh, but that did not mean that he was also the father of the spirit. So he means to say that it is not at all, this is not at all sure. We are not sure about it. There's no stamp foot that the father, if he has got a crazy streak, the son will also have, or the father is a silent quiet man, then the son will also be the same. It is not there. Zorab was totally silent, different type of a person, but his son Murad had a liveliness about him, a crazy streak about him. He was a very, very lively boy, full of enthusiasm. The distribution mean that he was also the distribution of the various kinds of spirit of our tribe had been from the beginning capricious and vagrant. So this can be seen in the tribe, the whole Garo-Galenian tribe, that if the father is like that, it is not sure that the son will have the same behavior or the nature. We rode. Aram and Murad. We rode, and my cousin Murad sang. For all anybody knew, we were still in the old country where, at least according to some of our neighbors, we belonged. We let the horse run as long as it felt like running. They both, kept riding in. Nobody tried to stop the horse, and the horse kept riding, and it was just fun for Murad and Aram. At last, my cousin Murad said, get down, I want to ride alone. So now Murad stopped the horse and told Aram, see, get down, I want to ride alone. You have come here, just get down and see. Will you let me ride alone? I asked. Now Aram, just 9 years old, also felt that he should also ride alone. So he asked, will you allow me also to ride? This is up to the horse, my cousin said. Get down. So he says, it's nothing depending on me. Maybe the horse, if he likes you to ride him, then he will make you ride. Otherwise, I can't do anything. It is all the decision of the horse. Now we'll see if the horse allows him or not. For the sake of your safety, he said, let us hope so. Get down, all right? I said, but remember, you have got to let me try once. So Aram got down, and Aram said, all right. I don't know whether the horse will ride me or not, whether he will be happy to ride me or not, but at least you will give me a chance. I got down, and my cousin Murad kicked the heels of the horse. The horse, there's something, wooden put over there near his belly, and when you sit on the horse, your feet fall on that wooden thing, and then you have to just push it with light legs so that the horse doesn't hurt, but he comes to know that now it is time to ride or to start trotting, galloping and all. The horse stood on its hind legs, snorted and burst into fury of speed. That was the loveliest thing I had ever seen. Now this horse, when he was, gestured to start running, what did he do? He kicked his heels he stood on his hind leg. Alright, hind leg are the legs at the back. Snorted, he made a sound and burst into the fury of speed. And if you want, you can see this picture. Right? He snorted over here, standing on the hind legs. My cousin Murad raced the horse across a field of dry grass to an irrigation ditch, crossed the ditch on the horse, and 5 minutes later returned dripping wet. So, Murad took the horse here and there. Where all did it take? He took the horse across the field, to off the dry grass, then to the irrigation ditch, then the horse, crossed the ditch, and when they came back, they both were wet. They were dripping with water. So that means that ditch was full of water. The sun was coming up now. 4 o'clock they had come out of the house. In fact, it was more than 4, because 4 o'clock Murad had tapped the window and called Aram. And now, it was daytime. The sun was coming up. Now it's my turn to ride, I said. So now Aram, before going home, he wanted to also ride. My cousin Murad got off the horse. Murad was very kind. He got off. Ride, he said. And he told Aram to ride. I leaped to the back of the horse and for a moment knew most awful fear imaginable. The horse did not move. Now when Aram went and sat on the horse and tried to, tell the horse, gesture the horse to move, but the horse did not move. Now this was something that Aram had not expected. Kick into the muscles. Then Murad had to tell him, see, these are the wooden things. You have to kick into his muscles and tell him that he has to run. Kick into his muscles, my cousin Murad said. What are you waiting for? So Murad knew the way. Aram was 9 and he did not know that he had to do this. We have got to take him back before everybody in the world gets up and is about. So now you come to know that there's something mysterious about who the owner of the horse is, but Murad quickly says, come on, get up and tell the horse to, you have to kick him, and so that he, you ride alone, and then you have to return the horse back. You have to hide it before everybody is up. I kicked into the muscles of the horse once again. It reared. Rear is what? The back feet. It reared, stood on the hind legs, snorted. Then it began to run. I didn't know what to do. Instead of running across the field to the irrigation ditch, that way it had gone with Murad, the horse ran down the road to the vineyard of the Dikran Halibian, where it began to leap over vines. Now this horse took a turn and it went into the vineyard of Dikran Halibian. And there he started leaping over the vines and spoiling them. The horse leaped over 7 vines before I fell. So he couldn't balance himself. Aram could not balance himself. He was, all over the vines, the horse, and Aram fell down. Then it continued running and then the horse ran away. My cousin Murad came down the road. Murad was, totally shocked as to where, and worried also where the horse had run away. And so he says, I'm not worried about you. You fell down. I'm not worried about you. He shouted, we have got to get the horse. You go this way and I'll go that way. And if you come upon the horse, be kindly and I'll be near. So he said, if you reach the horse first before me, be kind, with lot of love and compassion. We'll have to stop the horse and I'll quickly be there. Otherwise, I'm going. I continued down the road and my cousin Murad went across the field towards the irrigation ditch. Both went from the different directions. So the boy, Aram, he went on the road and Murad went to the irrigation ditch. We need to know all these small things. Suppose you need in one-liners and MCQs. It took him half an hour to find the horse and bring him back. So it took them half an hour. All right, he said, jump on. The whole world is awake now. What will we do? I asked. So Aram was so afraid. He said, all right, if the world is awake, what will we do? Well, he said, we'll either take him back or hide him until tomorrow morning. He didn't sound worried. Murad was not worried at all, We have already been told that there was something crazy and lively about him. A lot of enthusiasm in him. So he says, either we'll hide him, we'll have to take him back, or if we can, we will hide him till tomorrow morning so that we can again ride the next morning. All right. So he said, he didn't sound worried and I knew he would hide him. He will not give it back. Not for a while at any rate. Where we will hide him? I asked. So Aram didn't know anything about it and he said, all right, but where will we hide him? I know a place, he said. How long ago? Did you steal this horse? So Aram says, all right. He knows he has to hide. He knew how to ride a horse. All right. And so confident he is. He's not worried at all. So how long have you been having this horse with you? It suddenly dawned on me that he had been taking these early morning rides for some time and had come for me this morning only because he knew how much I longed to ride the horse. Who said anything about stealing a horse? So Murad said, what stealing? Stealing, again and again you are saying. Who told anything about stealing? Anyhow, I said, how long ago did you begin riding every morning? So, but Aram wanted to know how long he had been riding every day. Isn't this chapter really interesting? And we'll come to know. So now when Aram asked Murad, tell me truthfully, since when do you have this horse? What does he say? I'm on page 6. Not until this morning, he said. Are you telling the truth? Aram asked. Of course not, he said. But if we are found out, that's what you are to say. I don't want both of us to be the liars. So he says, of course not. I'm not telling you the truth. So that means he had the horse from quite some time and he had been riding and training himself, having fun. And today he was here to entertain his cousin. All you know is that we started riding this morning. So he tells Aram that if anybody asks us, we are going to tell that we started riding this morning and we found it today. All right, I said. Aram was okay with it. He walked the horse quietly to the barn of a deserted vineyard, which at one time had been the pride of a farmer named Fetwedjian. So we need to know where they went to hide the horse, and that was a farm which was a vineyard which was now deserted, but one time it was a very a nice one, fully bloomed and blossomed with all the vines and all the grapes, and belonged to Fetwedjian. It's actually Fetwian. We don't say the J, but there are different pronunciations in different countries. There, just like, in mojito, we say mojito. It's the same way. So it's Fetwian. There were some oats and dry alfalfa in the barn. So in this barn, there were right now some oats and dry alfalfa. We began walking home. It wasn't easy, he said, to get the horse to behave so nicely. At first, it wanted to run wild. But as I have told you, I have a way with the horse. I can get it want to do anything I want it to do. Horses understand me. So Murad, while going back, he tells Aram that, I have a way with the horses. And it was not difficult. It was not easy to train him to know you nicely. It's very, very difficult to train horses. All right. So he tells Aram that it had been very difficult. And we also come to know that Murad is described as an animal lover. We'll see one more instance which shows that he was actually an animal lover. And he sang when he rides the horse. So he is a very fun-filled person and enjoys every moment that he has. So we come to know about his crazy streak also. And then his passion for riding made him fearless rider. He had the passion, so he was able to train the horse and became a fearless rider. He had a way with the horses and knew how to tame them against running wild. So, actually horses are very difficult to be trained, and that means he had already trained this, and it must have taken quite an effort of his. So then Aram doesn't know how his cousin does it. Aram is very fond of Murad and says, how do you do it? So what does Murad say? I have an understanding with the horse. Yes, but what sort of understanding? Even Aram wanted to have such an understanding. So he says, all right, that I know. But what sort of an understanding? A simple and honest one. Well, I said, I wish I knew how to reach an understanding like that with the horses. So Aram also says, I desire, even I want to have such an understanding with the horses, because he was also very fond of horses also, and also riding horses. You are still a small boy, he said. When you get to 13, that means Aram was 9, we have come to know. And then he says, when you get to be 13, you'll know how to do it. That means Murad is 13. So here we come to know about the age of both the boys. I went home and ate a hearty breakfast. Aram went home. Aram was very happy because it was his desire to ride a horse, and today that had been fulfilled. That afternoon, my uncle Khusraw came to our house for the coffee and cigarettes. I have talked to you about Uncle Khusraw before, who was a very short-tempered man. He sat in the parlor, sipping and smoking and remembering the old country. So the uncle came to Aram's house and he sat there sipping coffee, smoking, all that. So that means they were all very hospitable and everyone was welcome to everybody's house. Then another visitor arrived. A farmer named John Byro, and a siren who out of loneliness had learned to speak Armenian. All the others, this whole tribe was Armenian tribe, and now John Byro had come to their parlor, and he was an Assyrian who had now, because he was very lonely, he was alone, not many Assyrians were here, so to be good with them, to be friends with them, he had learned how to speak their language, that is the Armenian language. My mother brought the lonely visitor coffee and tobacco, and he rolled a cigarette and sipped and smoked, and then at last, sighing sadly, he said, my white horse, which was stolen last month, is still gone. I cannot understand it. So John Byro talks about his horse that had been stolen 1 month back. 1 month. So we have come to know. Alright, how long did Murad have the horse? Alright, and secondly, I told you that this whole tribe was a very hospitable tribe. They were trustworthy, they were honest, and they were hospitable. So this is an instant which shows hospitality. Uncle Khusraw is also welcome there. He was sipping coffee, smoking and all that. And even John Byro, when John Byro joins them, he is also given coffee, and he is made comfortable by giving him tobacco and everything. Alright. My Uncle Khusraw became irritated and shouted, it's no harm. What is the loss of a horse? Haven't we all lost our homeland? What is this crying over a horse? So Uncle Khusraw is a very short-tempered man, and he gets very irritated and angry and says, what, you are crying for a horse? We all were so wealthy at one time and we have lost our homeland. Homeland was something big where we used to feel free, we were wealthy, we were living such a nice and comfortable life. You are crying for a horse. So he gets very irritated. That may be all right with you, a city dweller, to say, John Byro said, but what of my saray? What good is a saray without a horse? A saray is the back part where you either, you have it for tied to the horse, you have it for carrying load or for carrying people. So you tie a saray at the back. So he says, I've got this saray, and what will I do with the saray? The horse is gone. Pay no attention to it, my Uncle Khusraw wrote. No, Uncle Khusraw had got this habit. He would say this to everybody. He never got tensed or, he never bothered about the problems of people. He just wanted people to just, stop thinking about this and stop crying. I walked 10 miles to get here, John Byro said. John Byro said, now I don't have my horse and I had to walk 10 miles to come here. You have legs, my Uncle Khusraw shouted. Uncle Khusraw again felt, why is this person cribbing and crying over small matter? Horse is gone. He has legs, so he has come on the legs. My legs pain. My left leg pains me, the farmer said. John Byro still continued and said, my left leg, was in pain. Pay no attention to it, my Uncle Khusraw wrote. That horse cost me $60. So then he continues saying, he's so upset that he has lost his horse. It's been 1 month. The saray is of no use. The horse itself had costed him $60. I spit on money, my Uncle Khusraw said. So now again Uncle Khusraw got very irritated when he talked about $60 of the cost of the horse, and he said, I spit on money, you are crying over money. He got up and stalked out of the house, slamming the screen door, and Uncle Khusraw got really very irritated. He got up, slammed the door and went away. My mother explained. Now Aram's mother was there. She had given him coffee to John Byro, and so she consoled him, and she said he has a gentle heart. She tried to speak for Uncle Khusraw that John Byro should not feel happy that his problems were not being heard, or no one was there to hear to his problems. So he says she takes side of Uncle Khusraw and says that he is a gentle man. He has a gentle heart. She said it's simply that he is homesick and such a large man. So she says he's such a large man, they get irritated quickly, and then he's very homesick. He remembers the homeland that has been lost. So let us not feel bad about the way he has spoken. The farmer went away and I ran over to my cousin Murad's house. Now Aram had been listening everything what John Byro was saying. So after listening to the mother's consolation, John Byro went away, and Aram quickly ran to Murad's house to tell him that he had come to know that it was John Byro's horse and it had been with him for 1 month, since 1 month. Alright, he was sitting under a peach tree. So when he went to Murad, where did he find Murad? Under a peach tree, trying to repair the hurt wing of a young robin which could not fly. So we come to know that he was actually an animal lover. Number 1, the horse. Number 2, right now he is seen repairing the wing of a blue robin, of a young robin. Alright, and he was talking to the bird. What is it? He said, the farmer, John Byro, I said. So Aram quickly went and told him, he visited our house. He wants his horse. You have had it a month. I want you to promise not to take back until I learn to ride. So now Aram feels all right. Now John Byro is actually searching for the horse, and Murad will return it. So he says, see, John Byro is searching for the horse, and he had come to a house and he had talked about the horse. He wants his horse back somehow, but you promise me you are not going to return until I learn how to ride the horse properly. So Aram, comes and tells about his desire. It will take you a year to learn to ride, my cousin Murad said. So Murad said, see, you are just 9 and it will take you a whole year to become perfect on horse riding. We could keep a horse a year, I said. So Aram said, all right, it will take 1 year. So let us keep the horse for 1 year. My cousin Murad leaped to his feet. What? He wrote, are you inviting a member of Garogalian family to steal? The horse must go back to its true owner. So Murad got up and Murad said, see, we belong to the Garogalian tribe, which is known for their trustworthy behavior and honesty. So do you want me to keep it for so long? No, that will be stealing. We have to return it to the true owner. When? I said, in 6 months at least. He said. He threw the bird into the air. Till now he was treating the hurt wing of robin. He threw the bird. The bird tried hard, almost fell twice, but at last flew away high and straight. So this was something again that Aram liked. Every morning for 2 weeks, my cousin Murad and I took the horse out to the barn of the deserted vineyard where they used to hide him, where we were hiding it, and rode it. And every morning the horse, when it was my turn, to ride alone, leaped over the grapevines and small trees and threw me away and ran away. So every day the horse used to do this with Aram. He used to go to the vineyard. He would, stamp over the grapevines and then drop Aram and then run away. So every day this used to happen for next 2 weeks. Nevertheless, I hoped in time to learn to ride the way my cousin Murad rode. One morning, on the way to Fetwagian deserted vineyard, we ran into the farmer John Byro, who was on his way to town. Now what happened was, one day they crossed each other. John Byro and the two boys with the horse. Let me do the talking, my cousin Murad said. Now Murad saw the John Byro coming and told Aram, see, you keep quiet. Let me do the talking. I'll tackle. I have a way with farmers. So he had a way with the horses. He had a way with the bird. He had a way with the farmers. Good morning, John Byro, my cousin Murad said to the farmer. The farmer studied the horse eagerly. Now the farmer saw the horse. Same horse he had lost. Not a fraction of the part of horse was different. So what did he see? He inspected and he said, good morning, son of my friends. He said, what is the name of your horse? My heart, my cousin Murad said in Armenian. He said, my heart. A lovely name, John Byro said, for a lovely horse. I could swear it is the horse that was stolen from me many weeks ago. May I look into his mouth? So, John Byro looks at the horse and says, I just cannot say that it is not my horse. It's absolutely the same. It resembles my horse that I lost few weeks back. And then he says, can I check his teeth? Of course, Murad said. Murad did not, say a no because he did not want him to suspect. He was very confident and very, the attitude that Murad had. He said, all right, you want, you can check. The farmer looked into the mouth of the horse. Why did he look into the mouth of the horse? Because the farmer, all right, these people who keep the horse, they keep cleaning the tongue, they keep cleaning the teeth of these animals, and they know how, the inner part of the mouth looked like, of their own pets. So he wanted to see inside the mouth of this horse. Tooth for tooth, he said, I would swear it is my horse if I did not know your parents. So he says, see, I know your parents and you belong to this tribe that is known for never stealing, that is known for trust, that is known for honesty. So I cannot blame you. But this horse, tooth by tooth, that means every inch, every fraction of this, the parts of the horse is just like the horse that belonged to me. The fame of your family for honesty is well known to me. Yet the horse is twin of my horse. A suspicious man would believe his eyes instead of his heart. So he goes on to say, if a man suspected you, they would believe their eyes, not on you. But I have trust on you because you belong to such a good family. So I can't tell that this is my horse. Good day, my young friends. And then he walked off. Good day, John Byro, my cousin Murad said. Early the following morning, we took the horse to John Byro's vineyard and put it in his barn. The dogs followed us around without making a sound. But Murad now felt that he had seen the horse, he had checked the mouth of the horse. Now, fooling John Byro anymore was not something that he would like. Something that was not a cup of tea for such a tribe that he belonged to. Early next morning, both of them went, tied the horse in John Byro's place, alright? So John Byro's vineyard, and they walked away. Now when they walked away from there, the dogs followed them. They did not bark at Murad. The dogs, I whispered to my cousin Murad. So Aram was looking, oh God, we have returned the horse. The dogs, they should have been barking that there is someone here, stranger has come and the horse has come back, something like that, So Aram, said in a whispered sound, the dogs, I whispered to my cousin Murad, I thought they would bark. Why didn't they bark? They would at somebody else. So Murad, again, a very confident person, he said they would have barked at somebody else, but I have a way with the dogs. So that was Murad and his crazy nature. He was an animal lover. He loved the horse, he loved the dogs, the robin, he had treated the robin and the wounded wing of it. So he had a way with all the animals. My cousin Murad put his arms around the horse, pressed his nose into the horse's nose, patted it so very nicely. He, tied the horse, and with full compassion, he hugged it. He, pressed his nose the way he used to love the horse every day. And then he went away. That afternoon, John Biro came to a house in his surrey and showed my mother the horse that had been stolen and returned. I do not know what to think. He said, the horse is stronger than ever, better tempered too. I thank God. My uncle Khusraw, who was in the parlor, became irritated and shouted, quiet man, quiet. Your horse has been returned. Pay no attention to it. So again, John Biro becomes very happy. He sits on the surrey and he comes in the, on his horse. He was very happy that his horse had been returned, and he comes and tells in the parlor that my horse has come back, and see, I have got my horse back. But he was very thankful to the person who had taken it, because the horse had been looked after by that person very, very nicely. So he was very thankful to that person. He didn't know who it was, but Uncle Khusraw, who was sitting at the parlor, he said, now you have got your horse, pay no attention to it. That was the way of Uncle Khusraw and Uncle Khusraw's crazy streak. So in this whole chapter, you need to know the character sketch of Murad, character sketch of Uncle Khusraw, and all about Aram's longing for riding a horse. You need to know why Aram did not feel that Murad would have stolen. You need to know about this tribe, all about John Biro, who was an Assyrian and had learnt the language of Armenian so that he could talk to them. All right, how they used to ride and what their experience was, and also what every time Aram had to experience when he rode the horse alone. All right, and how he treated the robin, how he trained the horse, how he had taken such a lot of care of this horse that even John Biro was very thankful to that person, and also about why the dogs did not bark at him, where they used to hide the horse, everything you need to know. All right. If any problem you come across, please put it in my comment section. This was a very long chapter, but we have finally done it. Do write in the comment section how you liked the chapter and whether you understood everything or not. Till then, we'll meet in the next video. Till then, goodbye.